Right, welcome ladies and gentlemen to a video on Spider-Man 4. Tom Holland has come out and spoken about the project, kind of where it's at in the pipeline, I guess, and just how it's going. So we're going to take a look at this today. Hit subscribe if you're new here and turn the bell notifications on. I do think this is not a massive surprise. So Sony doesn't really have anything massive in terms of franchises outside of their Spider-Man, Freudian slip there, Spider-Man property. And yeah, I do wonder where they're going to go with it though, because of course the end of No Way Home, and we've also had Tom Holland discussing sort of passing of the torch to Miles Morales, saying he'd love to do a movie sort of passing the torch, all this kind of stuff. I think that'd be a really big mistake for Sony to do that. Personally, I think Peter Parker is the quintessential Spider-Man, and when we talk about these characters, it is that quintessential character which sells. It's not to say that Miles Morales doesn't sell, but when you have a quintessential version of the character, even though there's multiple versions of said character, it's that quintessential one that does sell the most. Again, I go back to this example. It'd be as if you get sold a new Wolverine movie and all it was X-23, a female Wolverine. It's not what you expect, and it's not the quintessential Wolverine, just like Miles Morales isn't the quintessential Spider-Man. So my sort of preamble out the way, and Spiderman, sort of Freudian slip. We'll dive into this. Let's take a look. So like I said, this is a Deadline article, and it says Tom Holland talks Spider-Man and plans for the fourth movie. This is the very first time I've been part of the creative so early. Everyone wants it to happen. What does that even mean? He's basically a part of the creative process of this one. And with him saying, and this is why I did my preamble, with him saying he wanted to pass the torch. Not so good. But anyway, let's take a look. So it says this: the ancient Scottish town of St Andrews was hit with a heavy bout of Spidey fever this past weekend as the third annual Sands International Film Festival opened, pulling in an eclectic set of films, filmmakers and speakers, alongside one popular guest of honour. And that was, of course, Tom Holland. So Spider-Man actor Tom Holland, also known for The Impossible, Cherry and The Devil All the Time, passed through the fest, which opened with a screening of Last Call, a short project he leads with Lindsay Duncan, who is in Blackbird, that was co-written and directed by his brother. So he's sort of helping his brother out into the world, I guess. The Holland brothers also took part in the first annual Sands Golf Tournament, which will continue as part of the festival's wider activities. And it was on the pristine golfing greens where Tom linked up with Deadline to discuss his career so far and plans for future projects, including whether he will return for a fourth Spider-Man movie. Of course he's going to return, because, Sony will wheel a truckload of money his way. And he clearly enjoys that character, so I don't see the issue with that. But anyway, he says this: the simple answer is that I'll always want to do Spider-Man films. Good. I really like him as a Spider-Man actor. I really like his Peter Parker. I don't have an issue with that. I think he's good. I owe my life and career to Spider-Man, so the simple answer is yes. I'll always want to do more. Not if you pass that torch, though. Hey. The more complicated answer, Tom added, is how he and the Spider-Man team approach any follow-up to Spider-Man No Way Home, the third title in his webbed saga, without retreading past themes. And that is kind of the issue, isn't it? I mean, no one knows who he is now. That's a problem. In universe as a character, where's he going to go? What's going to happen? And how are you going to tie all this multiversal shite together in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which this is part of? So he says this: we have the best in the business working towards whatever the story might be, but until we've cracked it, we have a legacy to protect. The third movie was so special in so many ways that we need to make sure we do the right thing. I don't think there's any way they're going to follow up the third movie financially. I mean, that crossover, I think it was over $2 billion if I remember rightly. I'm pretty certain it was. There's just simply no way that they can, and that's okay. But I think they'll struggle if they try to top the last movie. And that's the issue, That was part of the downfall of the MCU overall, was always trying to go bigger and better. And not all movies need to do that. The Winter Soldier, for instance, was just an action film. An action spy espionage film. Didn't need to be anything else. Did not need to be anything else. It wasn't sort of upping the ante to this sort of galactic forces coming down, right? Not every Marvel film, not every Spider-Man film needs to consistently better the previous. And I think, again, like I said, they will struggle if that's the aim that they're trying to go with. You can up the ante in many ways and top the previous film in many ways. You could do it emotionally, for instance. Again, previous film probably going to be difficult to do that with, but you could try at the very least. But they put themselves in a very precarious situation because no one knows who he is. That's a problem, because character arcs and interpersonal relations are a big part of Peter Parker, Spider-Man's sort of story. You know, you need those interpersonal relations. You need those emotional hits. You need those story arcs, those character arcs. But you've ruined that. Now, I'm not saying that that's ruined completely, but you have to find a very inventive way to come back from that. And I think that they're going to struggle. He added, this is the first time in the process that I've been part of the creative so early. It's just a process where I'm watching and learning. It's just a really fun stage for me. Like I said, everyone wants it to happen, but we want to make sure we're not overdoing the same things. So that's good. That's good to hear. So starring Holland alongside Zendaya, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man No Way Home opened in December 2021, took $260 million in its first weekend, becoming the second highest grossing opening ever at the domestic box office, and it would eventually race past the $1 billion mark and inspire a now seminal internet meme. Yeah, so it wasn't $1 billion. It wasn't $2 billion, was it? What was $2 billion? It was Avatar, I think. Still, bloody hell. Or was it $2 billion worldwide and just $1 billion domestic? I think it was. Whatever. Anyway, Holland was last seen on screen in the Apple miniseries The Crowded Room. But anyway, so it says the Spider-Man actor told us he is now engaged in the development of several projects. And that's the other thing. You know, him as an element of Hollywood, he's got a lot on his plate. So, you know, he says this, we're figuring it out. We're at that stage where it's post-strike, so we're waiting for those scripts to come in. We're giving the writers the time they need to hit the ground running, but I've got a few projects that I'm really excited about, and scripts are coming in now, and they're great. I read something the other day that absolutely blew my mind, because he's doing, I presume he's doing his own producing now. And that's it. There's not really too much else here. You know, just talks about what he did with this film festival and things like that. But it is interesting, like I said. You know, it'll be fascinating to see where they go with this. I mean, I'm game for a fourth one. I like his Spider-Man. I've got no issue with that at all. So what do you guys think? Let me know down below. Where would you take it? What would you do? Cheers, guys. Take care. Bye-bye now.